Hey, you all, I'm here in Charlotte, North Carolina at the 2025 American Football Coaches Association, or the AFCA. I'm excited to speak tomorrow, but before I speak, I want to highlight Evan Blasingame. I got to know Evan from, you watched the podcast, you sent me an email, and it was a long email, and you don't know this, but man, your email really helped me because I was in a tough time in my life. I was transitioning. I didn't know if the podcast was helping people. I kind of was on some like, you know what, don't nobody care about this. And you sent me a long message like, hey, I listen to your podcast. I'm interested in this. I'm at a high school. I want to help out more. So I always want to say that to you in person. Thank you. But I met Evan, so I reached out and it reinvigorated my player development passion. And so we chopped up, we talked, and then I had opportunity to lead or teach a player development cohort. And you were a part of the first cohort. Shout out to Elite 8. And so since I have you here, I told you I'm gonna do testimonials in 2025. Matter of fact, you all who have got anything from Beyond the Field, go to the show notes, click the link, testimonial. Let me know how it has impacted you. But I had you here in person, just wanted to talk about your experience in the player development cohort, now known as the Player Development Academy, and just how that has helped you.
Yeah. So what you're good at, Ed, is there's a whole lot of people out there just like me who've got a passion for athletes and helping them out, trying to figure out their success beyond the field. And what you do is you put parameters around that of how somebody can carry out that passion to make the most impact, to make that generational impact that you talk about.
There it is.
And so Ed's real good at helping you develop a plan, giving you some pillars to work off of so that you can take that passion, harness it, and really have a huge impact on the athletes that you have an opportunity to be around.
And I appreciate that. Because when I met you, you had this passion. And one thing I'm always passionate about, as you know, is there's a lot of people who want to, impact athletes, but you have to have a plan. It's like anything. Like, hey, I want to learn, for me personally, I want to learn Spanish. Okay, cool. What's the plan? And so if you could talk about that plan process, I know you talked about it a little bit, but like literally diving into a plan, creating a plan, looking at some stuff that I did at other schools, how did that help you in the academy?
Yeah, so Ed's real good about sharing. He does not hold anything back. Nobody gives you better access to player development and the inside work that's going there than Ed does. And what really helped is Ed breaks it down and he gives you 10 major areas that player development hits on and focuses on. And then from there, he works with you to find out what you're most passionate about, help you build your pillars. You work in threes. And so coming up with 3 pillars that you're really passionate about and then focusing on that. So you take this big passion of helping, and you really break it down into smaller pieces so that you can really focus on what you're good at, what you're passionate about, so that you can have some success.
I appreciate that. I didn't even realize that. I give the webinar, which you all could catch up here. I always talk about the rule of 3 and didn't even realize the biggest rule of 3, beyond the field. The syllables almost took me out right there. So one thing I always want people to know is I did it a certain way at the University of Houston, University of Kansas, and Baylor University for their football teams, but I always want to make sure that it is custom to you. You brought it up a little bit. How did the customization of not just being like, hey y'all, this is what I did, do it, but hey, let's really dive into what you care about, because once again, if you don't do what you care about, you will not be effective. How did the customization help you?
Yeah, well, it really makes it specific to wherever you're at. No place is ever the same, right? You're dealing with different demographic of student athletes, different head coaches, different town. Everything is different. And so to hear your experience of working at a place like Houston with a big city, and then going to Kansas, and then even to Baylor, and how you tweaked some of your plan in those areas really helped to show that it's just not a one size fits all deal. You can really customize it to the place that you're at to have an impact in the area of where you're at that moment.
I appreciate you, Evan, sharing that for me or with me. This last question I'm gonna ask you to just, it's tough for me doing this video, but I gotta do a testimonial, I gotta get comfortable. I got former players too coming, y'all definitely want former players. But if someone was sitting here like, man, I've listened to the podcast, I've read the newsletter, I've purchased the book, I've read the book, how would you encourage someone to go to the next step in the value and going to the next step and being part of the Player Development Academy?
Well, through this process, I can testify and say that Ed is one of the most genuine and authentic guys that I've met in this space. And he really has a heart for teaching you to help you impact your athletes. And so if you want to take your impact to the next level, if you want to learn more and dive deeper into this player development field and learn what it takes to create that generational impact, there's nobody better out there in the country that's doing this than Ed Jones and Beyond the Field. And And so reach out to him. Ed will get back with you, and he's an open book. He'll be happy to share. But I couldn't give him a higher recommendation than what I've given today.
All right, so Evan's talked a lot about me. I want to talk about Evan. Evan is passionate. You can see the passion. He's passionate about athletes, passionate about people. Evan is a certified CPA. A lot of you all moving to the NIL with your programs, revenue sharing. He knows that stuff. If I know player development, I've talked to Evan about, we had a conversation about five. I just asked him some questions. And I was like, wow. And so, Evan, I want to give you a chance on this podcast, on this platform, to give your elevator speech to a coach. Maybe you're a coach, you're seeing this, and you're on the brink of hiring someone. Evan, I want you to let them know why you are the man for the job.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like you said, I've got a heart for athletes. I started getting in this player engagement space on a volunteer basis, just because I had a passion and a heart for helping young men find success off the field. And so I started volunteering with my local high school, and my passion just grew from there. And learning about player development, I just wanted more of it.
Yeah.
And so I've got a big heart for athletes, and with the financial space as it is now in the college athletics with NIL, my background is a CPA, a certified public accountant. I've been preparing tax returns, been a tax preparer, a tax advisor for over 10 years now, helping people get their tax returns, giving financial information like that. And so it can be very valuable to have somebody in-house that's got that background.
Yes.
You don't have to bring in, I know a lot of people bring in somebody outside from a bank or a financial investment firm or wherever, to have somebody in-house that you can trust, who has that kind of knowledge and that background can be very beneficial, not only to the coaching staff, to the athletic department, but to the student athletes as well. Letting them know that life can start for them now financially, with them earning their NIL money, and how to manage that wisely, right? To set themselves up for some success right now in the present, but also when their playing days are over, they've built a good nest egg or made some good financial decisions so that they have a good foundation to build from.
I like that, and the thing is, not only can you help with it, hey, you can weed out the people who say they know it and they don't. All right, thank y'all for checking it out. Evan, my guy.
Yes, sir, man.
Appreciate you.
Thanks,
Hey,
Ed.
y'all, telling you, he's ready. Make it happen. Let's go.